Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So these are my thoughts on the Manchester United 2, Chelsea 1 match that happened yesterday. I mean, where do I begin with this one? Uh, I would probably say this performance, not just result, but performance itself was the worst this season. And I would say this was a significantly worse result and performance than even the one we had a couple of weeks ago at Newcastle. I mean, this was a shocking match from Chelsea. There was the only player who the only player who I really think comes out in any sort of good level is Sanchez. I know Palmer scored, but we'll talk about him in a sec. So let's start from the very beginning. From minute one, Manchester United were in complete control. They completely dominated from the second kickoff happened. I mean, we've somehow made. I would say this is probably maybe even Manchester United's worst team I've seen in my entire life. Some of the players there are just awful. And we have somehow made them look like a prime Manchester United team under Sir Alex Ferguson. I honestly don't know how we've done this. From the second kickoff happened, Manchester United's team pushed us back and pressed us and just dominated the ball and consistently were trying to force Chelsea players to make mistakes. And obviously, just we couldn't handle them. Obviously, in the first 7 minutes, Manchester United got a penalty, slightly fortunate penalty. It was a really unfortunate one to concede from Enzo. However, Old Trafford, United will always get that. They'll always get 50-50s like that. It's always been that way since I've been born, and it was always going to happen again. So they get a penalty, and Sanchez makes a brilliant save. Doesn't fall for the whole kind of hop skip routine that Fernandez does. Great save, and then they miss the follow up. And you're thinking, okay, surely this is the turning point. First 7 minutes, we were awful. We were out the game, but Sanchez has just made an absolutely brilliant save. Surely now, we can kind of calm ourselves down, get our heads into it, and try and work out where to get back into this game. However, it was the complete opposite. I mean, United just kept pushing and kept pushing and kept pushing, and Chelsea's players, honestly, whenever they had the ball, seemed like they were panicking. These players seemed like they were terrified to make a mistake, and that's exactly what happens to lead up to Manchester United's first goal. We kind of clear the ball out. Nico Jackson gets the ball just outside the box, has it for 2 seconds, runs into a United player, and all of a sudden goes out to the left-hand side. I think it's Garnacho then who crosses the ball in to Maguire. Great block from Cucurella, but then it goes straight to McTominay, and there's no one there. There is absolutely no one marked, no one even close to McTominay. He can take a touch, and it's a great finish. But I don't know what's wrong with Chelsea at the moment. I don't know what's up with these players, but McTominay has so much time on the ball, he can take a touch and shoot. And again, it was a great finish. Sanchez couldn't, he was brilliant, but he couldn't do anything about that. Then after that, they carried on. They just carried on. And then Sanchez produced some great saves. So I think it made a phenomenal double save at one point as well. I mean, he was without doubt the only reason why it wasn't a humiliating scoreline. But then as the first half went on, Chelsea then started producing more attacks. And there was a couple moments. Mudryk had two big chances. One chance where he actually, he got Onana and the United defence to kind of push the entire body weight to the left-hand side. All he had to do was get the ball on target, and it would have been a goal. It would have been 1-1, and he completely misses the target. And there was one other massive chance Chelsea had, which was Sterling's through on goal. Sterling is through, and he creates a 2-on-1 against Onana. So it's Sterling and Jackson. Sterling's running just onto the edge of the box. Then all that's in front of him is Onana. He passes to Jackson. If Jackson just takes the ball first time, just shoots first time, I'm convinced he scores. But instead, he takes a touch, lets the ball roll across him, takes a touch, lets Onana get set, and then just kicks it straight at Onana. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what's up with Jackson at the moment, but he all of a sudden gets his chances, and he's just not putting them away. Even though it's just the same sort of chance he had against Tottenham. He scored 2 of those ones. Couldn't do it last night against United. And then again, it's consistent backwards and forwards because one thing with Chelsea, it's just chaos at the moment with these matches. And this is one thing about this match is, again, we had no control. This is where you can kind of put some blame on Pochettino. There was no control in any part of the pitch. Defence was all, I don't know what the tactics were against United. I could not tell. Our defence was awful. Our midfield was non-existent. And you could really see that we missed Conor Gallagher. And our attack was just all over the place. And yeah, so Jackson misses that massive chance. And then right at the end of the first half, Cole Palmer gets the ball, keeps going to his left-hand side, drags all the United defences to their right, and Onana also drags him to his right. Then Palmer quickly just kicks the ball into the left-hand corner. And, I mean, it went over very, very slowly. So I was slightly surprised that Onana couldn't save it. But again, like, I would take that. It was slightly fortunate, but you get into half-time at 1-1. You're very fortunate. You breathe a massive sigh of relief. You thank Sanchez because he was exceptional in shot stopping. He wasn't great with his feet and he made a few mistakes himself. But you thank him and Cole Palmer. You sit down and as a fan, you're thinking surely Pochettino will just say something to these players. They'll try and get them to calm down and maybe we'll see an improved performance in the second half. And they go out for the second half. And maybe the first, 10 minutes, it's quite calm because I think there's more control in the game from both teams. It's not erratic backward, like one end to another, like it had been in the first half, which I think, in all honesty, was probably best for both sets of fans. And then just slowly but surely, United were pushing and pushing and pushing. And it got to a point where it really felt that there was only one winner in this game. And it was United because Chelsea were offering nothing going forward all of a sudden. And then for United's goal, it's really bad defending from Colwill. I mean, I think Colwill is a brilliant player, and I think he will be world class. He will be world class over the next few years. However, this was shocking from him. The ball comes in, and he's so weak. He's just any sort of touch, and he just goes down straight away. And obviously McTominay scores. Obviously they look at it in VAR, but let's be honest here. I mean, we're at Old Trafford. If let's say this was Maguire who went down to a Chelsea player, do I think maybe they would have disallowed the goal? Yeah, possibly would do. But as it was a Chelsea player who went down and it was a United player who scored, it was a 50-50, let's say. And it was always going to count as a goal. They were never going to overrule that goal because there wasn't enough for them to overturn that decision. In reality, it was shocking from Colwill. It was just, he's got to be stronger in that situation. And then after that, I mean, it was awful. Like after that, there was no chance. Chelsea could not string passes together. All their players looked like complete deers in headlights. They couldn't pass to each other. They couldn't create space. They couldn't run. And you really saw the negativity of having such a young squad again, because all of a sudden they were playing like they didn't know how to play football anymore. This is when, in that sort of situation, that just shows you really do need experienced players playing in this squad, because we have youngsters who, when things get difficult, younger players normally look to and lean to the more experienced, the older players who've been around for a bit longer, who've been in this sort of situation. They look to them for kind of support. What the Chelsea players had is the Chelsea players essentially looked round and just saw other young players who were not experienced and haven't really had that many professional caps yet. And this is why it was shocking that we basically spent the entire summer just going for 20 and 21-year-olds. At the moment, Chelsea's main problem is they lack leaders in this team. Take out Thiago Silva, and I think 90, you know what, let's include Thiago Silva, about 98% of these players are between 21 and 23. I mean, we have a couple, we have Thiago Silva, Sterling, Sanchez, and I think Disasi, who is like 25. But the rest of them, they're all 20 to 23. I mean, Chelsea just lack. Chelsea used to have a core of like Terry, Lampard, Cole, Drogba, Czech, maybe about 5 players or so, and then you bring in young players to play alongside them, and then but you know those kind of core players will be there if times get tough. Right now, Chelsea have such a new and young squad that when these things happen, these players look to each other, but they're all in the situation, and they all essentially look like deers in headlights. They don't know what to do, and then you get this moment where they all look terrified to get the ball because they don't want to be the one who makes the next mistake. And Chelsea now have essentially, I think, 5 or 6 games left of the year. In my eyes, they're all must win, especially considering you have, I think it was West Ham who won tonight. So now Chelsea are 5 points behind 9th place, which is, even if we win this weekend, which is a very difficult game, we still stay 10th at best. And we're playing Everton this weekend. I mean, Everton looked incredible tonight against Newcastle. And in fact, Everton's first 2 goals came from their pressing and then causing mistakes in the defence, which they're definitely going to try and do against Chelsea. And I, in all honesty, believe they probably will cause a few mistakes at the back. So this weekend is going to be a very tough game. I think we've got Sheffield United coming up as well. So and Luton. Maybe these next few games we have to win to have any sort of chance in the in a European spot. One more stat I actually wanted to say was out of the 17 teams that were in the Premier League season last season and this season, so not including the 3 that went down and the 3 that went up, the form table for 2023, Chelsea is 17th. So we are bottom. So out of the 17 teams who were in the Premier League last season and the Premier League this season, Chelsea are bottom in 2023. Not good enough. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all on Sunday when hopefully we've somehow managed to get a win against Everton.